I believe we're going
Yes, no, I'm
on.
doing great. It's great to see everybody. I just paid Robert Hager's invoice a little while ago. He does mobile dumpsters. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Awesome.
Good to see you, Robert. Wendy Coles, I can't even believe it. Are you freaking kidding me? Love it. Eat some good
I'm
Mexican on
here.
Sunday. When do you go to Hawaii, Wendy? What day?
Monday. We leave Monday.
Aloha.
Yes, can't wait.
Which island are you going to?
Oh
Kona?
no.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, cool. I'm just going to kind of kick us off here. It's 10:01. People kind of normally jump on in the first couple of 5 minutes or so, but
Right.
got some preliminaries to kind of get through. So welcome everybody to our Deal Maker community calls. We think it's important to, let people stay connected around the country from all the different local deal maker clubs. Where are we up to now, Jim? I think we're at 13 or 14, maybe
15 maybe?
15.
I don't know. It's growing really fast. The new ones are Portland, Oregon, and Southwest Florida. They're the newest ones.
Well,
Right
awesome.
before
So,
that was Chattanooga and Jackson, Mississippi. So there's four new ones in the
well,
last two
that's
months.
that is amazing and awesome. I'm super excited to be a part of this
Me
community with
too.
Jim Ingersoll in the deal maker community. So if you guys just want to like say hello from wherever you're at around the country in the chat, feel free to chat.
Tell us
Felipe,
where you're signing in from today, if you're
yeah,
able
there
to
you go.
chat and you're not driving.
Felipe is going to be our speaker today. He's actually one of the Dealmaker Meetup Group leaders from Dallas, in the Texas area down there, and I'm excited to have him. If you guys weren't on last month, we had Lisa J, and she did a really good job on short-term rentals. You guys can always go back and watch those calls um, at the link down there, the bottom of this. So today we've got Felipe. He's going to talk about how you can, what are the 5 biggest deal killers and how you can avoid them. So I'm really excited about that. And honestly, I was just telling him before we got on, I'm still learning. Like we're all still learning on how to do this, on how to do this business. Flipping's one of those things that really the last 2 years has been kind of tough because the actual sales side, the inventory is low, but so is the demand. So we kind of talked about that a little bit, and especially now more than ever, if you're flipping, you have got to be on top of your game. So I think this is a good focus to start off the year with. And I'm excited about today's call. I know Jim is as well. I've never got to hear Felipe. I don't know him super well. We were talking about meeting up this year somehow.
I'll just say, like, we did Dealmaker Orlando 2 weeks ago, and Dallas was in the house.
Yeah.
What a strong crew from DFW. You guys are rolling. You got really great investors, Felipe.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. I'm glad we're represented out there. I'll
You
be
were.
personally in March, so I'm looking forward to meeting everyone in person. So very excited about that. Hopefully the crew will come out as well.
Tom, can you share this to your Facebook and we'll put it in all the groups?
It's already sharing right now. It's been sharing since we started. So yeah, we are on Facebook Live. If you guys want to share it to your local groups, that'd be great as well. Also,
It
I want to
helps.
remind everybody about the Sherwin-Williams and the Lowe's discounts, and we have more as well. So there is a QR code there. If you're not already signed up for this, get signed up. Let me just give you a quick testimonial. Me and Jim, so Jim can confirm this, it's not just me saying this, have both signed up painters, like people that's their job. They're a professional painter, that's all they do. And they both thought they had great discount programs already with Sherwin-Williams because they've been using Sherwin-Williams for 20 plus years. Every person so far that has signed up for the Sherwin-Williams discount, including the painters, have thanked me profusely because they're like, I can't believe you're getting a way better price than I was getting with all of this stuff. We just added some of the lower end products as well. So something like the Painter's Edge and the 200 series, if you guys are interested in those. I typically like to use the middle high grade stuff. Excuse me, I used to be a painter in my previous life. So I have the Super Paint and the Pro Classic and all that, but make sure you guys are getting these discounts. They really do add up. I promise you, you're saving way more money than you're spending on your local Dealmaker membership. So just make sure you guys get signed up for these if you haven't already signed up. Upcoming, we've got a bunch of stuff upcoming this year.
And Tom, like everywhere I go, I'm running into people that are grabbing the discounts. I spoke at a meetup last week and somebody grabbed me again, like constantly now.
Yeah.
Something that's super useful too is we do Home Depot, but we have a pro account, but it resets on every calendar year, right? So we spent 500,000 last year at Home Depot alone. We were an elite level getting heavy discount, but then this year it's like we start from the bottom. So
I
this is
know.
great that you can always get it any calendar year. So props to
And
that.
for people like Felipe, so let me reiterate, we haven't talked about this a lot, Jim, but
No, we
when
should.
you get to $100,000 in Lowe's, you get
Your
to
managed
your
account.
own exclusive club and have your own exclusive like regional rep help handle. You become a managed account, and then you're also getting everything that Home Depot is telling you you're getting. You're getting the extra discount. You're getting an extra rebate at the end of the year as well. But you don't get the rebate unless you get to that 100,000 managed account. So trust me, you want to be a managed account if you can. I would even encourage you, Felipe, to consider
Yeah,
looking at some of your stuff, especially at your level. You
yeah,
might come right
absolutely.
in at that. So if you haven't signed up already for this, for Jim's March event, March 26, 27, 28, I'm super excited about this event. You guys will be too. I think this is going to be Jim's biggest event he's ever done. And Jim, you just want to give some of the speakers that are going to be at that?
Yeah, sure. Well, since Texas is in the house, we have a Texas boy named Eddie Speed coming. How many of you guys know Eddie Speed? Yeah, not a bad cowboy, right? Flip A's right in your backyard there. And then for the first time ever, we have Lindsay Jensen coming. She's going to speak on arbitrage and controlling properties without owning. Of course, we have Jeff Watson and Mary Hart coming back. We have Jeffrey Taylor coming again, Tom. And then the amazing Chuck Glover, who got 2 standing ovations last year, is going to speak on wrap lending. Speaking of wrap lending, my Lend Pro GPT is almost ready. I'm going to put the waitlist link in the chat. So it's just going to roll. So it's going to, Tom, I'm expecting over 300 people. We have a lot of sponsors, and it's going to be amazing. I'll put the links in the box. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. So if you guys, I promise you, this is the event you do not want to miss this year. So if you can't go to any other event, go to this event. All right. Something I just started promoting right now recently. A good friend of mine, Jerry, Ricky, has a Land Shark University cruise in October. If you guys want information about that, you guys can have, the links are there at the bottom. I know a lot of us are going to be on a cruise here in the next couple of weeks. I don't think that there's any more availability on that, but I'm excited about Jim's going to be there. A bunch of other people. Another person in our network, Wendy Sweet, puts on a Sunrisers event every single Friday morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern time. I try to jump on there as much as I possibly can, and I just want to encourage everybody else. This is a Christian business owners, a real estate focused group, so you guys will get a lot of help with that as well. So just want to promote them as well. And don't forget the Gary Dealmaker event, September 4th through 6th. We're starting to get ramped up right now and starting to see people buy those tickets. And our sponsors have come through, and our speaker lineup is almost lined up there. So I'm excited about that event in September. Make sure you guys get your tickets for that. Also, I still am raising money for our senior mission trip for going to Guatemala. And I'm really excited about this because one of our sponsors that we've sponsored a lot throughout the Dealmaker community is Share the Love. And Augie and Share the Love is doing a drop with the seniors during this trip. So I'm really excited about that part of.
Well, Tom, it isn't just Augie going, because Wendy Coles is now going, and so are Cheryl and I believe.
Well, that would be amazing. So that would be really.
All of us may be
Yep,
doing a little
I'm in
hangout,
there.
right, Wendy? Wendy, are you going?
Yes, I'm going.
Put the link
That'll
in the
be-
box. Maybe
this is gonna
someone
be
else
super
wants to
fun.
join us, Wendy.
Okay.
And Guatemala has a soft spot in my heart because the missionary that we're actually connecting with, I went to high school with.
That's amazing.
So I'm really excited about this trip. If everybody like has a soft spot for this and you want to help these seniors get there, I still need to raise $17,000. I've raised 13 of this already, so we're still raising about $17,000 we need to raise for this. There is a link there for that as well. I will be going as a sponsor. My second oldest daughter, Edie, is in this class as well, so she'll be going as well. And then just kind of one thing I wanted to just kind of remind people of, we set goals. Everybody sets goals at the beginning of the year. And I just did a meetup group specifically on setting goals and setting up your business. But some of the goals that we sometimes forget about are these three goals. I think every year, everybody should have a health goal, because without health, you have nothing. A wealth goal. And one of my mentors, Tom Kroll, says, you should be tracking your wealth every single month and reviewing this with your spouse. And then also a giving goal. So I just want to encourage everybody to be a conduit this year, not a bucket. Don't just, say, hey, I want to make more. I want to do more myself. I want to have more money. I want to, grow my IRA, but also say, hey, like, what can I do to give back? What can I do to make this world a better place by the time I leave this earth? So who's going to thank God that for living their life, that I live my life? And a question I think we always should be asking ourselves every single day with all of that. So just want to kind of just remind everybody that, and have a reset button on that as well. Next month's call is going to be with Derek Long. He has a new IRA custodian, and that's going to be February 18th, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Hopefully you guys can make this call. I've had, I don't know, Jim, I bet you have had a bunch of calls too over the last 2 months about this specific type of arena. And, I personally like Derek Long. He's a good friend of mine as well. So I told him I'd give him the floor here to make this happen. He's also going to be one of the sponsors at my event, and I think your event too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So you guys will get to meet him. Great guy. I think you guys will like what you see with that. So without further ado, Felipe, you ready, sir? Got to unmute there, Felipe. There you
No,
go.
Tom, I think I changed my mind.
Okay.
Let's do it next month instead. All right.
Well, sorry, you're in the hot seat, sir.
I'll tell you, one of the
Before-
things I love about Felipe, not only I think your energy is off the hook, but
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jim.
you and your wife are master marketers.
Well, I don't know about master. I haven't mastered
I'm
anything
watching.
yet. I'm trying, but I
You
have
do a
her
lot.
here next to me. I'll get her to say hi.
Hi guys.
Hey, Geraldine, how are you?
Everyone. I'm doing great. How are you?
I cannot wait to meet you in March.
I know. I'm so excited to meet all of you guys.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks again
Thank you
for having us.
us.
It's an honor. I don't take your time lightly, so I want to deliver as much value as I can. I'm the opposite of a polished speaker. I have a heavy accent, so any questions come up, I get very passionate about this topic. It's absolutely transformed my life. So if I speak too fast, just raise your hand or slow me down. But feel free to interrupt at any time. And if it's okay with you guys, I'm gonna be going on and off the slides to show real stuff that we're working on. Some of it is gonna be private, but just close your eyes and pretend you didn't see if you see something you weren't supposed to see. But let's jump on it. The title of this presentation is How to Avoid the 5 Biggest Deal Killers When You Are Either Flipping it or filling it. And by filling it, I mean if you're placing a tenant in there, getting the property stabilized to refinance it and do what you want to do. I add that because it applies to either you're flipping, keeping it as a long-term hold, if it's commercial property, if it's any type of property. So I like to include in that just so you don't completely tone out when you hear flipping. Little disclaimer, all content provided is strictly for information and education purposes only. I'm a licensed realtor. I'm actually working on my Series 65 license. We have a small fund, a 506 3C5 for accredited investors only. But this is no tax advice, no legal advice. I barely speak English, so I do this business day in and day out, but just seek professional advice, okay? This is just our opinion and our experience that we're sharing. We're gonna go over a couple of frameworks whenever you are flipping a property. And like I said, it's not only flipping, it's any aspect of a real estate transaction. You're gonna have to find the property. You're gonna have to figure it, which is plugging in the numbers, doing your underwriting. You're gonna have to fund it, however that looks like, right? Depending on your model, if it's gonna be short-term, long-term, if you're using private investors, private money, if you're using commercial debt, all that good stuff. You're gonna have to fix it. Hopefully you are buying at a discount. we are discount investors. We don't buy anything on retail. Anybody can do that. You don't need to be on the Zoom if that's what you're looking to do. So there's going to be some distress in there in most cases. It's not always a property condition. Distress comes in many shapes and forms, but a very good value add is going to be fix it up. Fill it is going to be obviously if you're placing a tenant in there, or if you're going to do a seller finance type of structure, whatever it's going to be, it's securing that piece of the pie. Flip it is going to be on the disposition side of things, on how to get rid of that asset once you have it, depending on your business plan, right? So for this presentation specifically, we're going to be talking about the figure, the fix it, and the flip it. I could spend easily 10 to 12 hours on each one of these phases, but I'll save you guys a headache. You probably get a headache from listening to me by the end of this, but we're just going to touch very high level on this. And like I said, if any questions come up during any time, just raise your hand and let me know. In all of our businesses, we follow and believe on the Joe Polish model. That business should be what he calls ELF, which stands for easy, lucrative, and fun. We try to avoid what's called half, hard, annoying, lame, and frustrating. And you have to learn to love what you do. If you don't, you're going to get burned out quick. Let me get this. There you go. Give me 1 second. So like I was saying, you have to learn what you love. If you don't, you're going to get burned out quick. It's a healthy obsession. That's how mastery is developed. If you feel your business is a half, in which a lot of us do over the years, it means you need to pivot and you need to figure some things out to make sure you enjoy what you are doing every day. You know, life is short, so you got to love what you do. So keep tweaking until you find it. You just don't give up completely, but keep pivoting until you get there. Like I was saying earlier, we are discount and cash flow real estate investors. First and foremost, we start with a motivated seller, especially doing what we do. If you do not have a motivated seller, we move on. We go on to the next. There's so many deals, so many opportunities out there that we don't waste our time dealing with unmotivated sellers. Motivation comes in many forms, not only distress or financial, and in many people going through life transitions, different stages of life, different goals. So you got to learn how to recognize those types of motivations so you can, be in a position to help them when necessary. Our company policy is to only work with motivated people. That is not only for motivated sellers, but equally important, motivated contractors, motivated lenders, motivated private money investors, motivated third-party service providers, motivated vendors. As we like to say, teamwork makes the dream work. So let me get this. Bear with me.
I like that list, Felipe, because we always talk about motivated sellers, but we need motivated people all the way around us. Like everybody on our team's got to be focused and motivated.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. Why waste your time, right, and energy into dealing with anybody that's not going to be motivated?
Yep.
I think it's really important. And I put in the chat the quote that I really like because it ties in. It says, "The relief of distress carries greater rewards than price or terms when you're solving problems for motivated sellers."
Nice.
So keep that in mind. Wholesale price or wholesale terms. There you go.
Yeah, beautiful. I love that. Thank you, Jim.
Love it.
Yeah. So I was just going to mention, I'm not the brightest guy. I'm not the smartest. So that's why I got into real estate, because it's a very simple business model. I can explain to anyone in the back of a napkin. I buy real estate at discount or borrow what I need at a fixed cost. we sell at a higher price to realize a profit, or we lend the capital borrowed at a higher cost to realize a profit margin. That's it. We keep it simple. We don't overcomplicate it. Now, how we do that and how we execute the time frame and the strategies is to make this predictable and sustainable to all of our investors and to all of us is the fun part. And I like to say methods are many, principles are few. So it's a little proverb. It just means there's many, many ways to do this business, to handle a rehab project, to handle a transaction, but very few guiding principles. And this applies here and to a lot of business. And like I was saying, many ways to do this business, different strategies, especially in our industry. It can be very overwhelming, especially if you're starting out. There is so much out there, especially in this age, Chat GPT and YouTube, online, social media. So it can be very overwhelming, especially if you're getting started in the industry. But the outcome should always be the same. There's no right or wrong way to do something. There's only one way that's going to work for you and does not work for you. And this presentation is like a cafeteria style. It's like how I like to say it. What works for you, great. Get it and adapt it. And if it doesn't work for you, just discard it and pass it along. I don't have all the answers. I'm not striving to have all the answers. As long as I know how to get them when I need them and from the right people, that's how we do our business, and that's how you should operate your business as well. And that goes for your dream team, like Oprah says, whoever's in your bus. Another thing we like to say, it's not supposed to be easy. Anyone who finds it easy is stupid. That's Charlie Munger. That's Warren Buffett's partner. This business is very simple, but it's not easy. There's a lot of emotional bank account that goes into it. And sometimes people are not prepared for that. And that's when you kind of come into issues. There are levels to everything in life, especially in business. So it's not what you do, it's how you do it. It doesn't matter the industry, it doesn't matter the product or services. Show me any industry and I'll show you someone who's dominating and thriving. We believe 80 to 85% of all businesses is all the same principles, same foundations. There's a 20, 15% technical or industry specific that pivots. But if you master the basics, you are way ahead all the time. It carries to everything you do. You get your foundations right, your principles, your morals, your ethics, your honesty, integrity. Like really believe, not just say it, because we hear that a lot. So sometimes we hear it, but we're not listening. But really applying that, it's really easy to be great because a lot of people overlook that. But when I come across anything that's difficult, I always like to remind myself, absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. Sometimes you got to be a little delusioned, and you got to have the enthusiasm because it's contagious, and people that you interact with will feel that, and they'll start believing your vision. That's how you become a great leader as well. That goes along with your leadership. So like I was saying, for this presentation, I do not want to waste your time. I know it's valuable. My goal is to provide actionable, practical steps and real-world examples and some tools and tips of what we are doing and using in the business every day. So no matter what level or season you are in your investing career, if you're just starting out or if you're already a pro, just stick with me, and I think you pick up maybe a few things. At least that's our goal. The most successful people I know are rarely extraordinary. They do ordinary things with extraordinary consistency, while everyone is distracted by literally everything. It's the shining object syndrome. We start one thing and we see something else and we try to chase it. You got to be laser focused on what you're doing, on your niche, what works for you, and stay consistent and disciplined, and it will start to pay off. And this is me. You're probably thinking to yourself, who the heck is this guy Felipe talking with a broken English? and quoting all this random stuff. And why the heck should I even listen to anything he's saying? And I'm glad you asked that. That means you are a good investor. But getting to the presentation, I didn't want to make this about us or about my wife and I or a company. I really want to make about the listeners and see how they can apply this. But I think it's important to give some context why we have some experience in this topic. And I feel like I'm able to give some advice and share our experience. I've been in the industry for 17 years. I'm 37 years old. I started when I was just 20 years old. So I was technically a minor. And I remember vividly being in downtown Fort Worth after I attended a Wealth Intelligence Academy wholesale course. So that had to be 2007. And that was a Rich Dad Poor Dad course series. And I wanted to go to the happy hour that everybody was going to, but I could not get in. I didn't have an ID. And just to give you an idea, I started early. I realized the power of being in the right rooms and having the right people around you. So that was very powerful. A little background on myself. I'm an immigrant from Brazil. I arrived here in 2001 when I was 14 years old. I spoke zero English. When I lived in Brazil, I thought just speaking English was such an impossible task that I was so limited on my mindset, and little did I know what was to come in the future, learning Spanish, learning English, being trilingual, and then just finding success on pushing through. But when I started, I had absolutely zero capital to our name. My family is from a very small town in Brazil. It's called Ipirá. You can see it on the map. Now the population is 59,000 people. It was much smaller when we lived there. There's no infrastructure. There's no hospitals. There's no movie theaters. There's a church and there's bars. Everybody drinks. Everybody is got some deep depression and alcoholism, because that's the form of entertainment. They don't know anything else. It's just party and party. So there's a lot of generational brokenness that I can come from. A lot of suicides, a lot of alcoholism. I've been alcohol free going on 11 years now. And that was a decision that really transformed my business, was making that decision and not doing that just because I wasn't productive when I was doing it. And that was a huge switch. But, you know, if I can do this with no English coming from this little town, there's no excuse for anybody. All it takes is one person of your generation to take a stand and say it stops here and make that change. And that's what we did. As you can tell, my English is not perfect and I still have an accent. I learned English in 6 months when I got here. I have had times that I could not afford a mac chicken sandwich. And I use this example because I remember very vividly going through the drive-through, not being able to purchase a fast food sandwich because I had absolutely no money to my name. And it's a driving force. It's like a weapon because it's hidden deep down inside of me and I can pull it out anytime. And that can get me through anything that I need to get through. So I say this just because how Les Brown says, it's not over until you win. So if you're not winning yet, it means it's not over. You just keep pushing through it every day. I get very passionate about this topic. Like I said, it's changed my life completely. So I might speak fast. I just can't help it sometimes. And if I need to slow down or repeat, just let me know. And but we have a lot to cover. And I think I have about 25 minutes left. And I want to get through all my deal killers. So we'll get there. A little background. I'm a former firefighter, paramedic for 11 and a half years. After I became a U.S. citizen, I felt the calling to serve this country that I love so much, and I wanted to give back. I did that on one of the highest level that there is in the industry, and one of the top fire departments, top 1% ISO classification in the country. It's extremely hard to get in. Only a less than 5% hiring rate to get on the department. It's one of those things. It didn't happen overnight. A lot of work. Broke my leg during the fire academy. Kept pushing through it. I might not be the smartest guy, but I have some grit in me, and we'll push through it. I'm like a zombie. You can keep shooting me. I'll fall down. I'll get up and keep going. But I'm a recipient of a life-saving unit citation bar, which I'm very proud of. I had a civil position. I was making six figures, working 10 days a month. We were on a 24 on schedule, 48 off. That's when I built a lot of my real estate business, a lot of red eye. It's a lot of pushing through it. Part-time, we built a substantial real estate holdings. I walked away 2 years ago to fully focus on our business ventures. The structure and the discipline of the fire department taught me a lot. The principles that translate into business. So somehow I don't have a huge fancy education. I graduated on top 5% of my class in high school. I barely spoke English. I was taking AP classes. I had no idea how I got through it. Private school in Brazil was very almost like a college level type of education, so it was very intense. So when I got here to high school, somehow I had an easy time. I was very good at math. I love numbers. I won best algebra student of my class. And doing math, you don't need to speak English, so I really applied myself on that. I have an associate's from Richland College, but school was not for me. I was very distracted. I'm very ADD. Even going through paramedic school for the fire department, I failed it the first time, and I had to go back through it because I'm not very book smart. I like to call it I'm street decent. But anyway, that's just to say I don't have any fancy background, no pedigree, no network, no fraternity, nothing like that. I built this from hard work, from persistence, from getting used to rejection, from getting to getting used to hearing no's, but just pushing through it. And I like to say the world is full of geniuses with untapped potential. So that's not gonna dictate how successful you are. Whenever you get a loan from the bank, they don't ask to see your report card. They want to know if you can perform and do what you say you're going to do. And that's something that I can do. When I started in this industry, it took me 1.5 years to get one single deal done. I kept getting burned out. I couldn't quite figure it out. But the rest is history. Once I got a single deal done, my first deal was a wholesale deal. My second deal was a manufactured home that I purchased using private money. I think I bought it for like $27,000 on a hard money. I did a wrap. I sold it for $60,000 on a finance on a wrap, and then I sold the note to a note investor and paid off my underlying lien. That was my second transaction, and I'm hooked from there. Within 3 years, within the Securities Exchange Commission, I was considered what's an accredited investors, and within 4 to 5 years, I became a qualified purchaser through our entity. You know, this is my wife, Geraldine. I'm proudly in business with her. She's attached to my hip. We do absolutely everything together. We spend 24 hours a day. We go to masterminds together. We grow together. I think it's very important that if you're a spouse, if you're in a relationship, that you guys grow together. So that's what we focus on. We are 100% owners of our companies. We use a lot of investors on a debt model, but we are 100% equity owners. We operate a micro real estate fund where we do our real estate projects here in DFW. We have done over 400. It's more on the 500 plus range, but I just think 400 sounds easy, sounds good. And the numbers too it's more than that, but I just figured that's good enough for that. One thing is you find out about me. I don't like to talk about myself, brag, anything like that, but it's important to share a little bit of what we do. I've raised over 45 million through retail investors, just mom and pop investors, a lot of self-directed IRA, a lot of just one-on-one relationship, deal by deal, deed of trust by deed of trust, promissory note by promissory note. We've done over 60 million in personal transaction volume. We built a small rental portfolio, a seller finance note portfolio. I don't like rentals. My strength is short term, is acquisition. So we focus more now on fix and flip and private lending. But actively, we have around 20 million under management. I started wholesaling in 2008. I became a licensed realtor. I got my license in 2 weeks because I needed MLS access. Texas is a non-disclosure state, in which we'll talk about it in a little bit. But I have done a little bit of everything in this space, from fix and flip to private lending to land development to seller finance, portfolio management, rentals, short-term rentals, commercial properties, manufacturing homes. I'm a Texas licensed manufactured home dealer. We do land, we do nodes, and I've done a little bit of mergers and acquisitions consulting as well. I started a roll-up a while back, in which I'll share more about it in a little bit. We also currently have several businesses that supplement our real estate business. A lot of stuff that I don't share publicly or not on social media, a lot of stuff on the background. But anyway, that's enough. I think hopefully that gives you a little bit of background. But let's get to our presentation, because it's almost time. Here's a little bit about our stuff. We have a YouTube channel. We post not all of our projects, but a lot of our projects. You can see we do I like to think we do a real good job documenting the initial, during and after and side-by-side walkthrough. So if you guys are interested, check us out on YouTube. We also have an Instagram channel for raw acquisitions. And Geraldine is our interior designer, and you can check out some of her work, which is absolutely amazing, at her Instagram as well. This is MerakiID.com is her consulting for interior designing. She does take on clients on a case-by-case basis. She's very picky. She really likes to enjoy what she does. So if it's going to be somebody difficult or it's going to give her headaches, she'll just pass. But check out her work. She's really good at what she does. Here's some side-by-sides. I won't play through all of it. But, you know, we have plenty on your YouTube channel. There is plenty of before and after that you can see. Like I said, let's just skip all this stuff.
That's awesome.
Thank you. If I can figure out how to get this passed. Yeah, and like, if you guys have any questions, feel free to jump in, okay? But my goal is to give you actionable items that you can apply right away, practical tools and tips. And I feel like I keep saying that, and the practical tips are not coming up, but they're coming, I promise. Our bread and butter is fix and flip, but my favorite strategy in real estate by far is being a lien lord through private lending and seller finance. But that's a different topic for a different day. For now, we'll stick to our topic and let's get started. Our biggest deal killer number one is going to be you pay too much on your acquisition. You have to realize that you need to buy it at a discount. I'm going to jump around a little bit and I'm going to show you an example. This is my little custom calculator, right? We usually buy when we are planning on fix and flipping at 78 to 75 cents on the dollar minus my cost of repairs. So on my little special calculator, everything we do is based on square footage. That's going to dictate what we do. On my special calculator, I have all my cost built into it. All that I need is this 5 or 6 manual inputs that I do, and then the calculator does the rest. I'm going to use one case study of a property that we just got it on the contract. It's a property in Carrollton, in which I'm a big believer of loose lips sink ships. So I never talk about a deal that I have under contract or that I'm going through it until it's closed and funded and the money's in the bank, because things will fall through it. I'm going to make an exception. I'm going to talk about it. This one, hopefully it doesn't jinx me, but we just accepted this offer at full asking. And we're going to dive right in on this one here. So before I do that, not to jump around a little bit too much, but one of my real strengths that I like to think is my record keeping, right? So I highly recommend Dropbox. Everything here is on Dropbox. We keep it super organized by property type that I'm doing, right? Mind you, I also do private lending. I also do land. I also do seller finance notes, and I like to break it down by each project type. From here, I can see what all that I'm working on, what all that I have closed, and also, obviously, we don't get every property that we buy, but I keep records of everything that I've made offer on. So if I go under my old file, I can go back and visit properties that I made offers months ago, and I can revisit and have everything ready. I highly recommend you come up with a system that you can. This is all cloud-based, so I have access from anywhere. But this is an example of that property I was just talking about that we bought it. So I always like to use the same labels, and I keep everything here handy, so everything is very easy to get to. And I was gonna share for when we purchased this property, but going back to our calculator for when we buy it, right? I was saying we need to buy it at 75 to 78 cents on the dollar, just because there's gonna be some hard costs that you're gonna come into it. That if you're not on that, you're gonna be off. Your margins are gonna be off right away. So just to give you an idea, this property we bought it for 226. We underwriting. We always want to be conservative, right? We want to use historical data. We don't speculate on value. We don't speculate what's going to happen. We only look at historical data to form our valuation or repair estimate. We budgeted 80,000 on repairs for this. We ended up spending, I believe, 60,000. So I'm always conservative on the ARV and on the construction. So anything that I save is just upside. We always make our offers so we net 10 to 12% of the ARV. Like I was saying, everything starts off with the ARV. This property is 1,646 square feet. I already have all my repair costs that this is being adjusted after COVID. This is what I know my team can deliver, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But I already know before I even step into the property what I'm going to be spending on rehab, and we'll talk a little bit more. But the point of this is just to have a system and to know that if you pay too much on the acquisition, you're going to be upside down. So we have to buy stuff at 70, 75, 78 cents on the dollar in order to keep up with our holding costs. You know, there's property taxes. There's investors that we pay. Everything we do is through investors. So they expect a good return, and that's how we keep them coming back. We have several ways that we do our offer, and that ties into one of the biggest deal killer if you don't buy it at a discount big enough. Our max offer is going to be a 10% net profit. And then we go all the way to 20% net profit. And this is what it looks like in a little bit. So by just doing some manual inputs, I have all this data available. If I'm picking up a deal from a wholesaler, I'm going to start a little more aggressive. But if I'm dealing directly direct to seller, then I'm going to start a little bit more aggressive. Okay, we're going to jump in. We're going to go back and forth, and we'll jump into it a little bit more. And if you guys have any questions, Geraldine will read them out to me because I can't multitask that much here. But if you have questions, just put it in the chat, and then Geraldine is listening in, and she's gonna.
Somebody was asking, do you buy 75 cents of each dollar of the asking price or appraisal?
No, off the ARV, after the after repair value. And we're gonna jump into it a little more, right? Let's see here. Let's go over some tips on this specific deal killer. Or comp search. We're just talking about this, right? We buy 75 cents to 78 cents minus the true repair cost, in which there's three types of comps when you're dealing in real estate. There's gonna be the comparable sales approach, which is mainly residential, what we do. There's the build or replacement cost approach, or the build cost. And then there's the income approach, which is using the cap rate based on the net operating income, or based on what the cap rate is going to be, or what your yield is going to be. For a basic comp search for a CMA, which is a competitive market analysis, we always like to do a 20% range of the living square footage. We do 10 years plus or minus. So if the house was built in 1970, I'm going to look at 1960 to 1980. We use similar property specs, number of beds, bath, is there a pool, no pool, lot size. We use same or similar subdivision. We stay close to our subject property, a quarter mile to half a mile radius. The recency, something that sold within the past 6 months. You're looking for 3 to 5 real comps. And in a perfect world, if you have 5 comps using the fields above, it's great. If not, you keep expanding until you can have some good comps. Texas is a non-disclosure state, so you need MLS access to get comps. If you use tax value, that's not going to be accurate. It's going to be way under. If you use Zillow, that's also not going to be accurate. So you need MLS access if you are in a non-disclosure state. If you go into a different state, like Oklahoma, that's a disclosure state. The tax value is going to be very close to Texas, okay? One of the pro tips we also like to say is you want to stay homogeneous, like a cookie cutter type of house when you are flipping. You don't want the big and baddest house in the neighborhood. You don't want the smallest. You want a house that looks like anything else. You don't want anything with a lot of land, because remember, you're not buying to live yourself. You're trying to do a quick flip. So you want a cookie cutter house, subdivision, built between 1950 and 2015, so we can have some equity built in. You want something desirable, usually a 3 beds, 2 bath, 1,200 plus. You want close or slightly below average median sales price for the area. In DFW, that price has increased significantly. We are around 490,000. So I know if I stay around that place, that price area, I'm going to have a big pool of buyers. We have some properties now in the 900,000 range, and they've been sitting in the market for a long time, especially 2024, very tough year for us, moving inventory. But that's one of the things to be aware of. You want to avoid long days in the market. Ideally, we like to stay 60 days or less in the market. Now, that has changed significantly here in DFW with the inventory level. That's across the marketplace. It's a lot higher. You just got to be aware of it and make sure that you accommodate that into your underwriting. Also, just a little tip: if your house is way oversized, for example, all the comps in the neighborhood is 1,500 square feet, and your house is 2,500 square feet, if there's a big size discrepancy, the appraiser is only going to assign 1/3 of the value for the difference. So you got to be aware of these things. With experience, you learn on how to comp things out. This is one of my pro tips. Richer Values is a powerhouse. I have no affiliation with this company. We recently started using them, especially if you are um, doing private money lending. I can't speak good things enough about them. It's very affordable. Richervalues.com. Like I said, I'm not an affiliate. We've just been using them. Let me show you what a powerhouse this is. They have two types of services. You can do a self-service for MLS data nationwide, and it's AI based. So you pay, I think it's $34 per report, and they'll give you a very strong report. This is one of their sample reports, but something very unique about them is they'll go ahead and calculate what the as-is value is, what the ARV is, based on the scope of work that you're going to do. They break it down using AI and their back office on what your rehab is going to be like. Also, if you have a borrower that's applying for a loan through you, they'll cross check that and they'll give you any red flags, say, hey, this mechanical cost, it doesn't make sense, it's overinflated, and they'll use that scope of work to come up what the best strategy is. If it's a full remodel, a partial remodel, based on the condition of the property, C1 through C7. C1 is going to be a new build. C2 is going to be a full remodel. C3 is a partial remodel, and so on. And they'll tell you, hey, instead of doing that full scope of work to obtain that full ARV, you might want to consider just doing a partial remodel, spend less, and your return is going to be, if not the same, greater, but you achieve that in less time. So check these guys out when you get a chance. I also love that they use the comps, and they provide the pictures, right? If you look at an appraisal report, you're not going to see what the comps look like inside. So very helpful, very useful. This is one of their lender reports. If this is a draw inspection, they'll go out, they'll take pictures, they'll upload it using AI, and they can help you with your draw inspections if you're doing any type of private lending. But anyway, just wanted to recommend that because that is such a game changer that we've been using. Another tip that we have is going to be just a simple ROI calculator, right? We use our calculator.net ROI calculator, just something simple. We have this built into our custom calculator. This is something that we can give it to our VAs, and they can actually pull the ARV from Richer Values, plug everything in, and then the system does everything else for them. We even have in our calculator what our private capital is going to look like for our investors. If we want to do stack offers, if you're doing seller finance offers, we even get into that. There's even new build things here on our little calculator, but my main focus was going to be on the ROI calculator. I want to get in and out on stuff that at a minimum, I'm going to have a 20% cash on cash return, meaning not leveraging finance, not leveraging debt, just on all in cash basis on what I'm putting in and what I'm getting back. I want at least a 20% cash on cash. If I have that, and I add on the leverage on the finance, that number is going to be much greater. But anyway, I'm running out of time, so let's jump ahead. This is Dan Pena. He's one of my mentors. I had something that I was going to share here, that something I learned from him is he likes to say in a most, if you know Dan, in a most vulgar way, he says that when you are in a room and either a girl or a guy walks in, you know right away if they're hot or not, right? You know if they're good looking. And that's the same approach we have to take once we see these deals. You have to do this so much that when you see a deal come through or you're talking with a seller, you know right away this is a deal or this is not a deal. It's almost second nature. It's an instinct that you get to it. But anyway, our biggest deal killer number two, it's going to be you go over budget. And that goes hand in hand with the pre-planning and the construction. And there's ways that we use to mitigate that. And I'll get that pulled up here. You have to stay ahead and manage the contractor. You got to manage the budget. You don't over improve. You rehab based on your comparable sales scope. You cannot overthink it. Selecting the correct team members are a key factor. Don't let the pay ever get ahead of the work. Know how to underwrite correctly and have reserves and contingencies planned on the scope. We always plan for the worst case scenario and be ready, be conservative in underwriting. If you save, like we talked before, it's an upside, it's a bonus. But if you're spending more than $40, $45 per square foot for a cosmetic only rehab, you are doing something wrong. If you are spending more than $70, $75 per square foot on an extensive gut rehab or a luxury rehab, you are doing something wrong. Every market is going to be different. Those are the prices we use here to stay competitive in Dallas-Fort Worth. Some quick calculations we use is for $1,000 of labor of everyday work, it's equal about 2 weeks. So for every $10,000 of labor, it's about 2 weeks. So for example, if I'm spending $30,000 in labor, that's about 30 business days. So that's about 5 to 6 working weeks. How do we handle repair budget? We're going to talk about this a little bit. We have our own construction company, right? So we always control the controllables. I'm in charge of pulling permits, of hiring the subs. So all my employees are under the umbrella of the construction company. The only client of the construction company is my real estate operation. Everything is different entities. That also ties in. I want to, for tax purposes and on my capital gains, it's going to be short term, right? It's a heavy tax bill. So I want to minimize that net profit as much as possible. And we do that through other companies that we own and control that only service us. But the main point is I control the controllables. I'm not waiting on somebody to pull permit for me. I'm ahead of the game. Let's see here. How do I handle contractors? We hire a main GC. Each GC hires their own subs, right? Each crew I pay around anywhere between $4,500 to $6,000 a week. So I don't tell them, give me a bid on this project. I tell them, hey, this is what we are doing. How long do you need it to get everything accomplished? And then that's my budget for labor. For example, my main GC guy, he's on a high skill level. He's a manager type of position. He's going to get paid around $300 per day. He's going to have his crew, and his crew is going to be a lower skill level. They're going to get paid anywhere between $150 to $250 per day. So that equals the whole crew working 5-6 days a week. It's going to equal around $4,500 to $6,000 per week. So our material and labor cost is usually going to be 55-60% labor and 40-35% materials. So for example, a standard house is going to be anywhere between 50,000 to 80,000 rehab. Our labor is going to be around 27,000 to 32,000 material. To give you an example, on that Plumdale in Carrollton, this is literally my rehab labor cost that I paid. All in, we underwrote it at, let's see, we underwrote it at 80,000 and I was at 60, right? I keep it very simple. Everything goes into the Dropbox, so I know how to get access to it every time. There's one tool. This is a white license. This is my product that I have a white license, a white label license through these guys called House Hacker. I love the product, in which that's why I wanted to license it. If you don't have a big construction background, like I don't, I'm more of a numbers and structure and finance type of guy. Don't ask me to fix anything. Geraldine is better at fixing stuff than I am. Mine just doesn't work that way. I can break stuff, but I can't fix it. But if you are like me, this is a very useful tool. We call it Rehab IQ. But for using Plumdale as an example, I come in here and I input. We have canned scopes, which is going to be cosmetics only, extensive rehab. I can also do general labor or a specialized trade, and it's going to change accordingly. But it's a click and drop type of thing, right? Instead of a full interior paint, it's going to be touch up, it's going to be complete, and it changes accordingly. I can also change my design level, entry level, mid range, or high range, and the system does it all. Also, the material cost is pulled based on zip code of your area. So it works really cool. It also provides real professional reports that it breaks down what my cosmetic cost is, my mechanical, my structural. So this is very powerful when you're doing your capital raise and you provide this to your lenders. They're going to be very impressed. I can go as far as doing a line item. This can be done in 5 minutes. A line item of each item. And I can also go as far as breaking it down into materials and labor. So very useful tool. I definitely recommend you have something similar to that. But anyway, I think I'm running out of time. I'm only on the tip number 2. So I'm just gonna go super fast.
Yeah, I want to get through these tips, at least these 5 deal killers.
You do? Okay. All right. Pro tip, scope of work example. Geraldine, that I talked about it earlier. She's the interior designer, right? I don't even look at what she's picking. I begged her to just copy and paste every property, but she likes to go in there and do her thing, her creative mind. She'll go in and she'll break everything down, and that'll be sent to the contractor. And we're gonna tell them, hey, this is being opened up. This is the paint colors. We keep a track of everything that it helps keep it streamlined. The next one is going to be our pro desk that we talked about. We get preferred pricing. Everything is in the back office. We spent $500,000 at Home Depot alone last year. Make sure you use your street address as a PO. That way you can come in here and you can, even for tax purposes, is very helpful. You can search by property and you can find out exactly what they're buying. Also, all of our contractors, they purchase their own materials. That's one of the requirements. We only pay for labor. We never give any deposits, right? Because we're paying for labor only at the end of the week. Materials, they send a text message from Home Depot, from the Pro Desk, and we approve. We're able to see pictures of what they're buying. It's very helpful. We get a lot of discounts through here. I have a dedicated account manager that calls me too much, actually. I hope he wouldn't call me as much, but he wants to take care of us. He wants to keep our business, and he'll give us preferred pricing. We'll put bids through the Pro Desk, and we'll get it severely discounted when we order windows, doors, that type of thing. Same thing with floor and decor, right? Something we didn't talk about too is points. We put everything on the credit card, business credit card, and we pay that off, right? But then we had over 1 million points last year that my wife and I would like to travel. We don't have kids, so we travel the world. and we fly first class just using points from these purchases because it's got to go somewhere. We just use the credit card and these rewards and then apply towards our pleasure for free. Same thing with home exchange and that type of thing. But anyway, highly recommend get preferred professional accounts to all these service providers. Even through Flow and Decor, when I put in an order and Geraldine sends me her scope of work, I just text the Pro Desk manager. He puts it all together. He gives me discounts on top of it, and we move on. Same thing with the rehab IQ that we just talked about. We're gonna talk about deal killer number 3. Take too long for the rehab, in which we kind of talked about it a little bit. You have a high capital cost, right? No matter who you are, even if you're using your own cash, there is unrealized returns by committing that cash into the project. So we use hard money and we use private money. So that's going to be on the double-digit return. So time is of the essence. The way we do that is we pre-plan everything. The day that we buy, you better believe it, that dumpster is going to be there. Nobody's going to be waiting on me. The scope of work is going to be ready. The spec sheet is going to be ready. I'm ready for demo. If I'm having a foundation work done, my engineer report is already completed. I'm already sending the foundation guys. They're working at the same time as they're doing the demo. All the utilities are on. I'm not waiting until I close to turn on the utilities. My insurance is paid at closing. Everything that I can do beforehand, it's already done. So I'm not losing time. You need to have a schedule and stay on top of it. You got to stick with your budget. You got to have kind of very much like a draw phase with a lender. You got to have some phases completed with your contractor that you visit and you stay on top of it. If you're not measuring, you can't keep track of it and you can't optimize it. So you got to stay on top of it. This is my example that I showed on a Dropbox. And by the way, if anybody wants a copy of these slides afterwards, just contact me and I'll send it to you because we're going super fast. And I have notes that I'm supposed to read, but that plan is out of the question now. But anyway, on my Dropbox, I do it for every single property. Every time I visit a property, I date it, I create a folder, and I add all the pictures in there. There are tools out there that you can have your contractor take timestamp pictures, which is geolocated, and have it uploaded to you. You can make one of the requirements. You want to get paid on Friday? I need to see pictures of every room and have them upload, give them access to that. And that's one of the things on finding good contractors. I had a whole section on it, but you want to work with a contractor that's a solopreneur, family guy type of relationship. Our contractors have been with us for years. We've paid them literally millions of dollars to work with us. And you got to sell them on the vision. You're going to make your money with us by always having work. We're constantly going to have projects for you. Now, work with me on price. The quality's got to be there. That's a given. But you want to treat these guys good. It's going to be a trial and error. That's one of the hardest things is getting the construction down. But once you have those people that will stay working late to meet the timeline, it will work on holidays. It will go when the freeze is coming, they will take initiative. They'll go turn off the water. Those are the type of things that you got to notate and you got to make sure you take care of your people so they stick with you. You can also find them through referrals, through Facebook, going to Home Depot at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. The good guys are there early buying materials so they can start. So you ask for business cards, you introduce yourself, and you start building a relationship with these guys. And same thing when there's a project out. I don't know how many times we are driving and we'll pull up and we'll go inside, introduce ourselves. If we see their work, talk with them, start building that relationship. And my Rolodex, if I need anything done, any subs, we have it down. Same thing with our GCs. Each GC for our projects manages their own subs, but we have our own trades that we rotate, like electrical, plumber, foundation, roofer, windows. those guys rotate through all the projects, but we get a much better pricing. Okay. But anyway, let's talk about deal killer number 4 is takes too long to sell the property. You got to have a disposition plan, right? Especially in 2024, it killed us. I was telling Tom earlier, we've been doing this for 17 years, and last year was the toughest season that we've had in this business. Inventory sitting, a lot of liquidity issues, a lot of investors scared, not knowing what was going to happen. So very scary times. I do not know of a single real estate operator on a big level. I know guys that manage billions of dollars, manage hundreds of millions. I don't know any single operator that didn't pause distributions last year, to give you an insight on how things were not looking good. With the new administration, whatever your political view is, it's already starting to ease up, and we already seen a lot of that move in the right direction. Now, we need to get interest rates for housing. The magic number would be 5.5 interest rate. We are a long ways from that, but we really need to come down in the sixes in order for things to really start moving. But anyway, so when it takes too long to sell the property, it's a controllable, right? You got to be aggressive. One of our tips is, as soon as you have a property under contract, you want to set up an MLS search for anything that's going on around the property, so you can see what the inventory level is looking like. If the sold inventory in the past 6 months is not enough to sustain a few months on the inventory, that's going to dictate if it's a hot buyer's market or a seller's market. So you want to keep an eye on that. You also want to see what's selling, what's coming on the market, so you're mentally aware. By the time you purchase and you sell it, it might be 3, 4 months, 6 months. So things are going to change. In 2022, we bought a property to sell it for 700,000. By the end, we sold it for 950,000 because we gained appreciation on just that short 6 months because the market was so hot. So that's an extra 200,000 of gross sales that we didn't even account for it, right? So same thing on my initial calculator. I have a plan here for disposition. My rule of thumb is I'm a fix and flipper guy, but if I can wholesale it for at least half of what I would make as an assignment fee, as a net profit, I would do that in a heartbeat. And I would recommend you do that too. Wholesaling is a beautiful model. There's no risk of taking title, no liability, no investors to pay, no construction to manage. So if I was going to make $40,000 on a rehab after everything is said and done, and I've gotten white hair because of that, because it's never easy, and if somebody offered me 20,000 to wholesale that, yeah, I would take it. So just know things ahead of time, which that comes into my little wholesale plan here. This is literally what I do. So if I'm wholesaling a property, I'll put it in the market at 85% ARV minus repair. And then if I don't get any bites after 5, 7 days, we drop into 83. Another 7 days, we drop into 81. Another 14 days, we drop into 78. 75 is the lowest I'll go. Anything below that, I'm doing the deal myself. I only put something on the contract that I'm willing to close on it myself. And on this little calculator, we'll calculate how much assignment fee we charge and all that stuff. But I always take care of my end buyer. I like to say that if you take care of your end buyer, the end buyer will take care of you. So we do a lot of work for them. We even provide hard money loans if they want. We'll finance the deal on pre-approved terms. But I do a lot of calculations for them, and I offer consultative lending as well. If they need my Rolodex, if they need my expertise, my team, my title, my insurance, whatever they need, we share that freely. But anyway, that is to say that if you have a property in the market and it's not selling, you need to have a plan, even to refresh their MLS, right? Reduce 1,000, reduce 5,000 after 2 weeks. If you're not getting showings, you got to pay attention to the feedback. and you got to be constantly on the lookout. For us, we do a $5,000 reduction every 30 days or so until we sell. Every house sells. It's just a matter of how much it's priced and the home condition. If the house is not selling, it's one of those two things. Taking into consideration that it might be some other sort of circumstance like the housing market and interest rates being crap, right? So that's outside of our control. But the price and the condition is within your control as long as there's demand in your area and people are still moving in which that's the case for us here in Texas, if there's demand on the market. Okay. But anyway, so let's wrap this up. You got to have a disposition plan like I talked about. This is a pro tip, Kubicasa. I highly recommend these guys. It's completely free. You just search on your app store, Kubicasa, and it's a really neat app. It takes literally 2 minutes, and you can scan an entire house in under 2 minutes. This here is that Plumdale in Carrollton. We used Kubicasa completely free. It takes maybe 6 hours after you submit, and they give you the exact floor plan. It gives you dimensions right there. I give this to Geraldine, and she puts the flooring order right here from this instead of me having to wait for contractors to send me measurements because they never do. But I highly recommend this. They also have some upgraded features, like if you need an actual CAD design, or if you need elevations, or if you need a video, highly recommend them. We started using them last year, and it's really cool tool. We have so many little AI tools in the marketplace now that it is unreal how much it makes your life easier. And I have tons of that. If you guys like it, let me know, and I'll put a list together, and I'll share some of that. The last deal killer, number 5, is going to be the after repair value execution. So we like to say that, it's a cliche to say that we make our money when we buy it, we realize it when we sell it, and it goes hand in hand with buying at the right price, and make sure that your after repair value is realistic. The after repair value is the most number that in the transaction. Everything is dissected from there. You might be off 20, 25% off your construction budget, and it's fine. You want to be as accurate as possible, but you can still be 20% off, and sure, you're going to lose maybe $4,000, $6,000, $8,000. But if you're off 20% on your ARV, that's a deal killer. You're going to be upside down. We're talking now $40,000, $80,000 easily. So to reiterate, we buy on historical data. We don't speculate. We look at inventory levels to kind of get an idea of what's going to do and what to expect. But if you send up an appraiser out there, he can only use sold data for a reason, right? So be aware of your ARV. Make sure you use richer values. Make sure you're doing MLS comps. Make sure you have a broker's price opinion or a soft desktop appraiser to verify that before you close on it, and make sure it checks out. Let's see here.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Felipe. Anybody have any questions? I think we've answered most of the questions in the chat.
Sorry, I went a little long, guys.
Oh, you're totally fine. I normally don't do this. I'm kind of hesitant to do this anyways, but I kind of feel compelled to, with just so many comments and so much information that you've given us. And thank you so much, Felipe, for investing in our community today. But I kind of almost felt like, the Lord telling me to kind of say this at the very end. I don't normally try to correct the speakers when they come on, but I just feel like I kind of have to in this setting, Felipe.
Yeah, please.
And I do this with all respect and everything. You've done an amazing job. And this is what I'm going to say. I kept hearing you say at the beginning of this that you are not smart. I kept hearing you say you're not the smartest person, but I'm going to tell you this is absolutely crap. Stop saying that.
Yeah, well, great.
I think
Thanks.
JJ is agreeing with me in the background, and she's high-fiving me on the side here.
Exactly.
But you are smart. You are I mean, what I saw today was absolute genius. You definitely work hard. You've realized that the benefit of life isn't in just taking from everybody else, but giving. And even in today's call, you're smart enough to realize that you don't know it all. And
Mhm.
this is something that most people don't realize. It's kind of crazy. I see people out there shaking their heads like you're smart enough to realize that you're always learning and you can always get better. And that takes humility, but it takes brains. And I'm telling you, you are a genius. You've also realized that your wife is important in this journey. It's a big deal to kind of understand that. I mean, to me, that's genius. You know,
I
you
appreciate that, Tom.
you
Thank you a
figured out how
lot.
to
That means
do
a lot.
land. You've done notes. You've raised $45 million in money. You have a good name. You have a rental portfolio. You've done seller finance. You've got, you said $20 million worth of properties under management. You're a realtor. You passed that test. You're a lender. To me, like if nothing else, I hope you guys got a lot out of this call, but if nothing else, Felipe, I hope that you realize your own genius in this because everybody has their core genius, and we may not be what some people would call book smart, but everybody has an opportunity to be a genius. And in my opinion, you just kind of outlined and proved to everybody, hey, you have it dialed in. You've created your own calculators. And I also kind of want to encourage everybody else. Everybody else comes with a different skill set. Everybody else comes from a different background. Jim used to be an engineer. I promise you, Jim has used his engineering background in what he does for real estate investment. You've even used your background of all the way back when you were in South America to kind of be a part of this. So I really just want to encourage you, Felipe. Sometimes the words we speak go back into our ears. And I'd encourage you not to say, I'm not smart, because in my opinion, you're a genius. And I wanted to kind of give you a little bit of love correction there for that. Does anybody
I
agree with
appreciate
that?
that. Thank you
Does
so
anybody agree with
much.
that? Give me a thumbs up in the comments.
How about a clap, a high five?
Yes.
No, not just that, but like you fit our core values of Dealmaker so well, Felipe. You two, you're givers. I mean, you have great energy. You believe in collaboration. I mean, just so many things.
Yeah,
It's
thank
no
you so much,
wonder-
Jim. I appreciate everyone listening in. Sorry I went a little long. I didn't hit all my points, but we'll do better next time.
No
No
wonder
need to apologize.
your DFW is taking off like an Elon Musk rocket.
I
There's
appreciate
a
I
it.
gotta
reason.
wipe his tears off. There we go. We got
I
emotional.
can't wait to. When I see you two, I'm gonna give you a great big hug in March.
Same.
Who wants
Awesome.
to see these
Looking
guys
forward
in
to
March?
Yes.
Awesome.
Go.
I think going forward, Tom, if you have him on, you need like a 3-hour slot for him.
I
We're
think
pulling them
everybody
into
wants you to-
multiple panels now.
I will say I've fallen into that trap, Jim, as well. Like when you first start speaking,
No.
you have way
No.
too much information. And that's just something that you learn over time doing more speaking engagement, is that you really need less because you're going to overemphasize something. But you did a great job, super well prepared. I know how it is to speak, guys. He probably put 40 to 60 hours into that presentation that we got
I
to
will say these two work hard.
in an hour.
A little bit, a little bit.
And they're
we
phenomenal
play harder.
marketers. Besides loving math,
We pray harder.
Yeah.
me too, pal.
Yeah.
Me too. I'm going to pray for you guys tomorrow, but
Amen to that.
you just you bring it. So, and I know you love math, Felipe, but you're such an amazing marketer too.
Thank you so much,
I
man.
can't wait to hang out with you.
You guys are too nice. We need to do this more often. I think I like it.
Hey, I got one question for Felipe. How long
Yes,
did it
sir.
take you to build that spreadsheet?
That
Your
spreadsheet took
calculator.
some work.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not gonna lie.
Yeah, I
And-
know. How long did it take you? Months?
And
weeks?
and I'm not a big Excel guy, so it's very, how do I do this formula, copy and paste type of thing? I need to send it to somebody that really knows Excel and kind of come up with a little software, because even the sheets underneath, we have new builds, we have tons of things built out on underneath. So
Yeah. I
it
don't
took
know.
it took a few hours.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yep.
That's impressive.
Thank
You mentioned a lot of different AIs and a lot of different things. I want to remind everybody about Rehab Valuator as well. That's another one that a lot of people I know use on this call, and it has a lot of those same things that you talked about on that. But, to kind of review the deal killers, number one, you pay too much. Number two, you go over budget. Number three, your rehab takes too long. Number four, the property takes too long to sell. Or number five, what I got out of number five at least was you're just wrong on your ARV. So I think those are really good deal killers and definitely things that people want to take advantage of. This is a call that I would recommend most people go back and rewatch later on. We will have this up on the website probably in the next 2 days or so you guys can go back and rewatch. And then I know that Felipe's wife, I think JJ, was collecting emails already, because a bunch of people, as soon as you jumped on, Felipe, and said, I'll send you these slides or I'll send you whatever
Yeah.
you're going to send.
Felipe, if you could get them to me, I'll email them to everybody on my list.
Yeah.
There you
Yeah,
go.
absolutely. If you guys wanna, I'll drop my link tree on the chat, and my calendar is in there and my email. So if anybody wants to reach out, feel free to do so.
And yes, I do have everybody's email,
Okay.
everybody that dropped it on the chat.
Yeah, I'll send it out to everyone, and I'll send my notes as well, so you have that.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just feel really incredibly blessed. We have an amazing community. Joe, Giovanna, Felipe, I mean, all of you guys, Tom, Brian.
Oh,
We had a
it's all
lot of
thanks to
leaders
you.
on today.
It's all thanks to
This
you.
thing's
kid.
like growing really quick, have you noticed?
Yeah.
It's awesome.
God is just really blessed. So it's so good to see all of you guys. We have so many friends on right now. Please know how much we appreciate all of you guys.
Yes, likewise. I totally agree, totally concur. Just want to remind everybody about the next call. So the next call we have scheduled already. We don't have March's call yet figured out, but we'll figure that out by February. So the next call is February 18th, 11 a.m. Talking about self-directed accounts, IRAs, solo 401ks, all of that, and some exciting new software and things that Derek has going on. I think you guys will definitely enjoy that. Well, that's it for today. Unless anybody else has anything else they want to talk about. Hope you guys have a good day. Remember to be a conduit, not a bucket. Work to have to give. Be a deal maker. Go make some offers.
Thanks, everybody. Felipe, thank you so much. It's
Bye,
good to
guys.
hang out
Thank you,
with
everyone.
you.
Thank you,
Thank
Tom and
you.
Jim, for having me.
Awesome.
Amazing day, guys.
Felipe, can you
Go
hear
get
me?
them. No
You guys hear me?
excuses. See you guys later.
Take-